Today I want to talk about two very common topics that you might think we don't have to talk about. That's hitting down the line and hitting cross court. But actually, hitting down the line or hitting cross court can be done wrong, in a wrong way. So today I want to show you what the challenges are and what the incorrect solutions are that players use and what the correct way of hitting the ball down the line in cross court is. And by correct way I mean that you get more accurate and more consistent. I'm going to ask my nephew today to throw the ball, and I'm going to show you what happens when the ball comes cross court on the racket. You will see if I just hold the racket. Okay, today go ahead. So what happens if I hold the racket, you can see that the ball comes out, and theoretically, based on the laws of physics, the ball will go out of the racket at the same angle. So the incoming angle and the outgoing angle will be the same. And so that's the problem when we're hitting the ball down the line. And if the ball is coming cross court, it tends to go wide. So we have to somehow counter this angle of deflection, that's how it's called. So the most common mistake that players do to counter this angle of deflection is to change the racket angle with their wrist. The reason why this is very inconsistent is because it's very difficult to find that wrist position that's perfect to hit the ball down the line, and because the wrist is very movable here, so you're constantly changing the angle of the racket, and as you know, even a small degree of change of the racket makes a big error on the other side. So what players do is they tend to try and counter this angle with their wrist. So that's why that doesn't work. Another common mistake that players do is they might keep moving to the side when they're hitting down the line, or even worse, they might be moving backwards when they're hitting down the line. So when you do that, the ball will almost always sail wide. So what do you have to do to counter the angle of deflection and have a consistent down the line? Cut. So how do we counter the angle of deflection? Here's the first way that we can minimize it, is that we have to hit more decisive along the line. So today you go ahead. So first, if I just move the racket slowly, you can see that the ball still deflects a lot. But if I move the racket faster, then the ball doesn't deflect. So because my force is so big, or the speed of the racket this way, then I can almost counter the angle of deflection. But still, if the racket is parallel to the net, there will still be some angle. So how do we counter that angle? So maybe from this side. It's not good to counter with the wrist, as I said before, because you have too many options. What we need to do is we need to counter that with our movement, with our body movement. So we need to try and move inside. So instead of changing the racket angle like this, I can change the angle by moving my whole body in the ball at that angle, and that's how I will achieve the racket angle. So that's why it's very important when you're hitting down the line that you move into the ball. That's why you will see a lot of down the line shots with a closed stance, because it's easier to move into the ball. If you do open stance, you still want to move a little bit into the ball with your movement. So let me show you from the side angle. So in order for me to counter the angle of deflection that's giving me trouble when I'm hitting down the line, I have to do two things. First one, I have to hit very decisively down the line because I want to beat the angle. I have to be stronger than the outgoing angle. And secondly, I want to move inside the ball to change the racket angle. So I don't want to change the racket angle like this. Okay, today can you throw one ball? So I don't want to change the racket angle like this, but I want to keep my wrist locked in the same position, and I want to move in the ball. So when I'm hitting down the line, I want to move in the ball. I don't want to stay or keep moving sideways. So I don't want to keep moving sideways or falling backwards. I want to keep moving in the ball, so my body direction has to be like this. So when I'm going down the line, I'm going very decisively and in this direction, and that's how I will tame the outgoing angle and have a very consistent down the line shot. So here we go today. I'm gonna drop the ball to him. I ask him to hit the ball, just to hit the ball wherever it goes, so he's not thinking about direction. I'm just asking him to swing through the ball, and I'm going to change where I drop the ball, and we'll see. Okay, today, ready? Yeah, so you just swing. So I'll drop the ball here, you just swing, and you see where the ball goes. You don't have to aim. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here, a few more balls. Yeah. Yeah. What do you see today?
A ball?
Yes. Where is the ball going? If I drop the ball here and you just swing through the ball, where is the ball going? Huh? And if I drop the ball here, where is the ball going? Okay, I think he knows, but he's shy to speak English. So, as you can see, if I drop the ball close to him, the ball goes cross court. If I drop the ball a little bit further from him, the ball goes down the line. So that's very important to know when you're hitting cross court or down the line, so that you don't adjust the angle with your wrist.
I also rallied with my friend Urban, so I can better demonstrate the difference between cross court and a down the line shot. So we just played a certain pattern of cross court and down the line shots, and I will show you from different angles what the difference is when you're hitting cross or hitting down. So the first example here is showing you the difference in the distance to the contact point. So you can see it's shorter when you hit cross. You want to be closer to the ball because you're getting behind the ball, and that also results in a difference in a forward momentum, because when you hit down the line you want to go more into the ball. So here, similar when Urban is playing, there's a difference in the distance to the contact point, slightly further when he hits down the line. From this angle you can see really well the difference in forward momentum, so you can see how on the right side he moves way more into the ball, back and forth, so for easier viewing. And this is the demonstration of the open stance, where you see the momentum into the ball much more pronounced when I'm hitting down the line than when I'm hitting cross court. Here's another example from a different view, and it's the difference in alignment. So different foot alignment depending on where you want to hit the ball. And this is another demonstration of the most common example. When you hit cross you want to be open stance, when you hit down the line you want to be close stance. At least that's the most comfortable way of doing it.
So here's a quick demonstration of the difference in the contact point between the down the line and the cross court. So okay, today is gonna throw me some balls. Okay, here we go. So for down the line, I'm hitting the ball here, one more. I'm hitting the ball here. And for cross court, I'm hitting the ball here. So I just get on this side of the ball. Instead of just getting the racket on this side of the ball, I'm getting on this side of the ball. More advanced tennis players are surely gonna ask me, well, that makes it very obvious, right? If you're getting closer to the ball, then I know you're going cross court. Yes, in most cases, I would say 90% of the shots, even on the Pro Tour, the pros knows exactly where the ball goes. So there's not much hiding, but sometimes you can disguise your shot, and I want to show you two types of footwork when you want to disguise your shot. Because you can disguise your shot by positioning yourself for the down the line shot, and then at the last moment you switch. Alright, today, so for a down the line shot, this would be my distance to the ball. So if you see this distance to the ball, you might think I'm going down the line, but what I can do is I can go on this side of the ball the last moment and do this recovery step. So here's one more. So I'm positioning for down the line, and then at the last moment I'm going behind the ball. I'm doing the recovery step, and that's how I can hit cross court. And if I play open stance, then I have to do a little shuffle. So I hit and I do a little shuffle, and that's how I get behind the ball. Here's one more example. So in summary, if you want to hit down the line, just have these two things in mind. The first one is that you have to hit decisive, because if the racket is too slow, then the outgoing angle will still gonna beat you, so you have to beat the outgoing angle with quite a decisive shot. So when you go down the line, hit a good shot. Don't have to go crazy, but you must hit a good shot. And the second one is that you want to try and move in the ball, so you don't want to go sideways, or even worse, you don't want to go backwards while hitting down the line. So you want to always go inside the ball. The easiest to do is with a closed stance, but you can also try with the open stance. So these are just two things to keep in mind for more consistent down the line shots. Hit decisively and move into the ball. And to hit a good cross court, keep in mind that you want to get the ball a little bit closer to your body, which means you want to hit the ball earlier, more in front of you, and also try and align in the direction when you're hitting. So don't align in the position that you want to hit down the line and then try and change the angle with your wrist, but actually position yourself early in the direction where you want to hit. At least keep that in mind for beginners and intermediates. And then more advanced players, they can try and disguise the shot with the close stance. They can pull themselves over on the other side with this one recovery step. And if you hit an open stance, then you do a little shuffle after the shot, and that's how you also pull yourself on the other side of the ball and make it go cross court, even though at first it seemed that you were going down the line. Yeah, see?